But I think the going out to sea thing was essential because we got a feel of the energy of, and I call her the mothership because she is the mother. She is. It's everyone else. It's very masculine, the ship, and there's all these big 5-inch guns and missiles, and it's just like everywhere you're like, oosh, there's another missile, there's a ship over there, and it's just like, you know, it's just, there's a lot of testosterone on that ship. But the ship is, I was just saying this over there, is that she's ultimately like this very female force. And so when you go out in the ship and you feel the hum of her in the ocean and what that power's like, and when they were firing, we went out and they were doing their practice, we got to feel the power of the missiles and all of that. You realize that the sort of, you understand, and you kind of attune yourself with the function of it, and that then allows us to come back here, and thank goodness we shot that stuff first and then we came here, so you can kind of hopefully bleed in some of that sensation. She spends most of her time out, you know, we open up and she's in Egypt and she's not, you know, she's out there by herself, and you know, you become incredibly dogmatic, and your relationship with your viruses becomes a marriage. It becomes an absolute passion where you become so fixated that really the people you work with, all you're really talking about and you surround yourself with is conversation about this amazing thing that you become obsessed by. So, and I think that the last few months, even prior to us being sent out, being myself and Sam Sproul and who is Quincy, sent out, there was such, I suppose, there was a quiet frenzy going back on the planet Earth, and the conversation was so much surrounding, you know, how and where do we go to uncover what could possibly be causing this, and how do we possibly get to the place where we find a vaccine to deal with this. I don't think there was really any time to concentrate on shades of other people's personality and how they were behaving. And she's not, I'd say not. And she's also, by her own disclosure as well, she's not very connected to people and a good people person from the beginning. She was raised by herself, and she lost her mother when she was very young. And she set about, as a result of losing her mother, making her quest in her life about making it up to the fact that she felt she could have done something. And so her whole quest in life is being married to this. Even her relationships in her life fall to the wayside. And it's like, she can't tell anybody that she knows their families are possibly dying, their mothers, their children, their baby, all of that. She's holding all of that secret. And you imagine, it's like this sort of pressure cooker, like this, until the moment where I'm allowed to sort of tell him, because he's like, I need, after the Russians come and attack, and he's like, okay, the ruse is up. What the bejesus is going on, woman? So then finally she's like, okay, here it is. And it's not the best news. I've been hiding the fact that, by the way, your wife and your 2 kids and everyone else on this ship, yeah, their family's been in jeopardy for 4 months, and I've been keeping that secret from you. Oops. Not feeling too bubbly about that. Not finding a bubbly moment in that. No, I couldn't. You know, and it was definitely a line that had to be. We had to discuss that, because ultimately, what happens after everything is out is that you have 2 very specific, dogmatic groups of people, whether it's the scientific world and then in the military, and they have their different agendas, and absolute respect to what it is that Captain Chandler, being Eric, has to do, which is make sure he gets his boys and girls back home, that he completes his mission, and now he understands that his mission and my mission are one and the same. We have to work out a way of me not being the albatross on the ship, me actually being possibly more of the saving grace, or, you know, the person who's the only person, because there's no one else. So it becomes then this harmonious balance, this relationship building between these groups of people, and then what you see is people as opposed to scientists and, you know, Navy boys and girls. You see the people underneath that start coming out, and I think that's where it starts to get it becomes more textured, where you start relating to these humans. It becomes about what people do when faced and confronted by something this magnanimous. And that's what's interesting to me, and that's where I think we're at as a race, as a people. Well, because she's not a vaccine maker. That's not her. She's she just studies viruses, so she doesn't. She's out of her depth here. So there's no foothold for her to have any higher ground with this. She needs all the help that she can get with what she has, doing what she thinks is the right thing to do, but it's not her this isn't entirely her wheelhouse. So there's no real place to have any, I know what I'm doing, I've got this. And there's trial and error. They have to go and bring her, did anyone mention to you that we have to go and get monkeys? This is my favorite kind of role to play. This is like the perfect blend of everything, that if I was to have taken all of my favorite bits of parts that I played before, it's now sort of culminated in this one character, which is Rachel Scott, because she's cerebral enough, and I think that the environment that she's thrown in interests me in such a way. But this environment, for me, being somebody who's actually not part of the Navy and coming in as a sort of a rogue element, I always say to the writers, and what I love about this is that everybody is very linear. Everyone's like this, and she comes in and she sort of moves, and she's free form, and she has her own. You have to be, as a virologist, you have to keep on thinking on your toes, and you have to move in any which way you need to at the time, given what clue you're given. And I like that she's ad hoc like that, because it takes away the strictness of being either a lawyer or in the Navy, or in my past show where I was military and I had to have a ponytail in a certain place, and you have to have, carrying your gun the wrong way, and it's like, this strict world. So yeah, because I think we are dancing on the precipice of that right now. I think that what we're seeing is it's not, we're in jeopardy, through our own design, or however we want to argue it, but I do believe that there's a die-off taking place, which has been fairly evident over the last couple of decades, and it's been escalating. And I think that everybody in the film world, media has, in the last maybe 20 years ago, they went straight to the kind of, well, it's going to be aliens, or it's going to be these things that are so bombastic and out of reach, but the temperature of what we're talking about in this show and some other shows is actually a reality. Viruses and bacteria that we have no handle over whatsoever, mold even, silent killer, that is the zombie apocalypse. Talk about zombie apocalypse, look at all the different states and countries in the world that have been hit by floods, and see what's happening as a result to people's neurological systems, just through mold. And that's been here for billions and millions of years, primordial. And so, I just think we're in interesting times where a lot of malaises are coming about. People are dying very slowly in a way which we haven't seen before, and I think it's just figuring out which is going to be the one that's going to take out the most in the quickest and the swiftest amount of time.